It eats its way through your opponent's flying creatures, whether they be the Sengir Vampire chump blocking them, or Sengir Vampire swinging in and your opponent having to chump block it. It gets that much bigger, making it that much harder to block the next time. Good creature.
Definitely a target. If someone plays that card, you are gunning for it. You've got to be, because that thing ramps up so quickly. What can you do with it? You can throw a few flying chump blockers at it, and then it just makes it bigger and bigger. By the time it gets to do damage at you, it really is kind of turning the clock on it now.
It's gonna hurt. It's a good creature.
Yeah. Right, so next up we have Shadow Clock Vampire, which is a 5-drop black vampire for 4/3. Pay 2 life. It gains flying until end of turn. It's quite expensive. Yeah, 5 for a 4/3. If it had flying automatically, I would say it's a really good card.
Yeah.
But having the extra additional pay 2 life, if it had lifelink, if it was a 4/3 with lifelink and then you gave it flying, this would be an amazing card. But it's a common, so we can't expect too much from commons. I think it will get some play.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think that will play in limited. I don't think it will play in standard.
Yeah.
But you'll see play in limited for
Yeah.
this, especially people who like black, because black's not looking as strong as the other ones.
No, I think you're right.
And the black players, if you play black, you play black. People are going to be searching to make their black decks for the pre-releases, and they're going to be playing whatever they can get, no matter how effective that card is, really. So if it's got a little bit of a hint of grace to it, I think it's going to be hitting decks.
Definitely. So here we have what's become quite a staple of black now. Sign in Blood. Black, so it costs 2. Sorcery. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. So you can target yourself, you get to draw 2 cards, although you lose 2 life, which is a bit of a shame, but drawing cards outside of blue is really efficient. Or you can use it as direct damage to your opponent, of course the drawback being that they get 2 cards as well. That's annoying. But if they're on 2 life, you draw this, you finish them there and then, just dealt with. Or if that extra 2 damage is going to help your creature finish them off, it can be useful. But it's great for you to be able to draw cards.
Yeah, also, mana fixing as well. Second turn, if all you've drawn is swamps and you need that mountain or that plains or something like that, and you've got nothing else in your hand, but you've got that, you can let that loose second turn. Alright, you're losing 2 life. Doesn't matter. There's a good chance on those 2 cards you're going to draw, you're going to get another land. So I think that's quite a useful card in black, to be honest. It's so versatile. Alright, you're paying 2 extra life on top of 2 black to play it, but I think if you're in that position where you need to draw 2 cards, you're not going to worry about paying 2 life. Right, next up we have the Mythic Soul for the black, and this is the Soul of Innistrad. I mean, what else could it be? It's the 6-drop double black avatar 6/6 with Death Touch. Alrighty, right, these souls are amazing and their costs are just OP'd. There's a reason why they're mythic rares. Really, really good. So its abilities are, it's 5 with double black in it, return up to 3 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. We like that. That could really bounce into that zombie discard enchantment. I think that's what it's built for, really. And then for the same cost, you can exile this from your graveyard and then return 3 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, I like these cards. All the soul ones I would be more than happy to play if I get them. I probably won't draw any because the chances of getting a mythic out of it very, very slim. But really good cards, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see the souls being used in standard decks at all.
Yeah, I want to say they might be useful. Great, so next up we have Stab Wound. This costs 2 and 1 black, 3 mana, enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2. At the beginning of the upkeep of enchanted creature's controller, that player loses 2 life. So, for 3 mana, you could remove a creature with 2 toughness directly from play, or cast it on one of your opponent's fatties later on in the game, put them a -2/-2, making it much less of a fatty, and for as long as that thing stays in play, they lose 2 life. Let's say they've got one of the walls we've already seen, -2/-2 isn't enough to kill it, and the wall is only useful for blocking so your opponent can't attack it into you. They're going to keep losing 2 life from that wall.
Unless they use it for defense purposes, but Yeah, no, I think Stab Wound's a very useful card.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun and it really messes with your opponent's head, which is always useful. Alright, next up we have got Stain the Mind, which is a 5-drop black sorcery. It has the Convoke ability. Now the Convoke ability means that you can tap creatures for either colourless mana or the colour of that creature. And it says, well, its ability is name a non-land card, search your target player's graveyard, hand and library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. Then that player shuffles his or her library. This is sick and disgusting. I think this is completely unfair, and I'm not happy with this card at all. This, if you know what your opponent's triggers are, if they are playing a playset, which a lot of times if you're in a pre-release and you've got a playset of cards that really kind of work together, you're going to want to play those. If you can then remove a playset of cards from pre-release, that's disgusting. Also, what it lets you do is find out exactly what your opponent's playing. Every single card in their graveyard, their hand and their library, you can have a look at, and you know what you have to deal with. This is an upsetting card.
It's an effect that we've seen in Magic before, and it's played in... If you're playing black, you play a card with this effect in all your sideboards, things like Extirpate, stuff like that. It's brilliant. It's just such a great way to say, right, I know what you're playing, next game, sideboard in, they're playing this ridiculous spell that you know their deck hinges on, or that is at least incredibly powerful. Let's say they're playing green and they're playing Tarmogoyf. Anybody who's playing green, there's a pretty good chance they're playing Tarmogoyf, and in the second game you could know they are. So you can sideboard this in. Tarmogoyf, get rid of them all. Don't want to deal with them at all. Completely exiled. Great fun.
But it depends which side the card you're on, really.
Very true. So next up we have Typhoid Rats. 1 mana, black, of course. Creature, rat, 1/1, death touch. Typhoid Rats is very quickly becoming a staple for black to have in its draft things because it's really efficient. It's in fact, it's one of the most efficient 1-drops we've seen so far. Death touch on a 1/1 makes it a fantastic blocker. Your opponent always has to think twice about attacking the creature, even if that creature has trample. Because, okay, it's going to trample over the Typhoid Rats into your face, but it still dies afterwards. Death touch. Great ability.
Absolutely. I mean, this is up there with Llanowar Elves for me. 1 drop, and then it's a 1/1 with this ability. You can buff it later game. It's got death touch. And then, as we've seen, there's lots of Decromancy in this black, so you can chump block with them and then you get them back later on. I love Typhoid Rats. I would splash especially for Typhoid Rats just because it's first turn you've got a death touch creature that is really going to put your opponent off his kilter if he wants to go in for fast attacks and things like that, because you can just pick off who you want to.
Good card.
I do like that card. I probably sing its praises too much, but I like death touch. Right, then we have Ulcerate, which is a 1-drop black instant. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. You lose 3 life. Yeah, the -3/-3 is amazing. You're losing 3 life. That's your kilter there to pay off for 1 black mana. And to be honest, I think it's worth it. If you want to get rid of that 1 creature that's really annoying, it's at instant speed. Yeah. It can also help you chump block. If the opponent's coming in with a 4/4, you chump block with a 1/1, you can then play this on top of it. Alright, you've lost 3 life rather than 4 life, but you've got rid of that 4/4 for the rest of the game. Sengi Vampire, stuff like that, that's going to start ramping up and things. It's a way of getting rid of it.
Yep. I like it. It's a good card. It's good removal. 1 black mana. Like you say, you lose 3 life. That is annoying. That is bad. I'm not going to say it's good. That is a shame. But -3/-3, that's quite a lot. Can even kill indestructible creatures.
Yes, because it minuses rather than destroys.
So next up we have Unmake the Graves. 4 and 1 black, so 5 altogether. Instant with Convoke. Return up to 2 target creatures from your graveyard to your hand. An effect we've seen already in this colour and in this set. Kind of useful. Instant speed is quite good. Makes it pretty useful because most of these effects are at sorcery speed. And it's got Convoke, so you can play it for a lot cheaper.
Very
Not
useful.
bad.
End of opponent's turn, you've got some creatures left on tap, you've got a bit of mana. Let's just use this card up.
Yeah.
We've then got those 2 creature cards back in our hand for the beginning of your turn when you've untapped your lands. This is like we were talking about Decromancy. This is a good way of getting back those cards that you've got into your graveyard. Alright, next up is another classic, Walking Corpse. This is a 2-drop black zombie for 2/2. Nothing else needs to be said. Second turn, you got a 2/2 out. You don't want to argue with that. It's also a zombie, so we've seen a lot of zombie play in this side. Good.
Nice, efficient creature.
Yeah.
So next up we have Wall of Limbs. 2 and 1 black, so 3 altogether. Creature, Zombie Wall, 0/3, Defender. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Wall of Limbs. 5 black, so 7. Sacrifice Wall of Limbs. Target player loses X life, where X is Wall of Limbs power. It's quite a funky little wall, actually. There are a few effects we've seen that give creatures lifelink, or that already have lifelink on them in black. Of course, you can always splash other colours like white to gain life, to put +1/+1 counters on Wall of Limbs. Okay, it can't attack because it's got Defender, but its 7 mana ability could be pretty useful, particularly as it causes loss of life, not damage. Just, there might be a few effects that can change that sort of thing. There is a difference. Loss of life is very difficult to prevent, if not impossible.
Yeah, no, I think this is your game changer. If you draw these, a set of these would be absolutely amazing. Okay, it's a 0/3 wall. That's not brilliant. You want something a little bit stronger when you're running into defense, but it's for a 3. That's really good. And then you've got these +1/+1 counters going on it. I would, if I had 2 or 3 of these, I would play black, white, maybe slashing a bit of red or blue or green just to kind of give a little bit extra life gain there somewhere and some creatures. But that Wall of Limbs and a bit of life gain would be absolutely amazing. And then you get to turn 7, or a little bit later than turn 7, but you've got 3 or 4 counters on each of them. That's giving you like 12 damage. You've already done a little bit of damage over the top. That's your game there.
Yeah.
Really good card. I like Wall of Limbs a lot. Waste Not, which is a 2 mana black enchantment. Whenever an opponent discards a creature card, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, add 2 black mana to your mana pool. Whenever an opponent discards a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. It's a nice little enchantment. Nice thing to sit there and just kind of mess with your opponent's head, make them discard a few cards, things like that. Be a very, very useful card to have.
A tiny bit of background on this card. It was actually designed by the Magic community, and as soon as I heard about it and looked at its abilities, fell in love with it straight away. Waste Not, brilliant card. Literally does as its name says. Don't waste anything. Black is good at making your opponent discard cards. No matter what they discard, you get an effect. Brilliant card. Love it. Thanks to the Magic the Gathering community for designing this card. Hope to open one.
I just hope there's a Want Not in green. That's what we need now. Waste Not, Want Not.
Yep.
Black, green. Right, you're next.
So, next up we have Witch's Familiar. 2 colourless, 1 black, so 3. Creature, Frog, 2/3. No abilities. Perfect little padding creature. 3 mana for a 2/3. Pretty efficient. No drawback whatsoever. Pretty nice creature.
Yeah, I think the only offset is the 3 mana for a 2/3. If it was maybe a zombie frog,
that would be nice.
That would be nice. That'd probably sit in a bit better, but I'm not going to argue with it. If you need something to pad out your black creatures, 2/3, it's quite good. Maybe Reach could be quite useful. It's a frog.
Yeah.
Reach could be quite handy. That would be
true. Frogs have had Reach.
Yeah. Right. Next up we have Thraice Slyblade, which is a 3-drop black human assassin with 2/1. It has hexproof. Can't be the target spell's ability of your opponent's control, but you can still buff it.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a 4 mana ability, which says until end of turn, it loses hexproof and gains first strike and death touch. Very useful. Very, very useful. I like this card. 3-drop for a 2/1 isn't brilliant, but you can buff it into first strike, death touch. Gonna kill anything. Unless you're going up against something with double strike or first strike. Then you're in trouble, but no. I like this card. I think this is going to get a lot of play both in limited and in standard. I can see this being a Friday Night Magic special.
Yeah, certainly really vicious in limited.
This will win games in limited, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So now we come to our last card in black. It's called Zoff Shade. 3 colourless, 1 black, so 4. Creature, shade, 2/2. Pay 2 on 1 black. Zoff Shade gets +2/+2 until end of turn. An ability we've seen on shade creatures before. It's been known to be ridiculously powerful. Bit of a play on it. Instead of being 1 black mana for +1/+1, we're paying 3 mana, but we get +2/+2 until end of turn. So 1 activation immediately makes it 4/4. Pretty cool. Not as efficient as it could be if it was the normal shade ability, but it's quite cool, especially on a common card. It's pretty useful.
Also, you've got to remember this isn't a limited one-off thing. You can multi-buff this if you've got the mana for it. You could do this 3-4 times if you had the mana, maybe a green mana ramping or something like that, and you can turn this into a big fatty.
Yeah.
So 4 for a 2/2. It's looking a bit dodgy on the outset, but you've got to be thinking, well, next turn I can make it a 4/4 by paying 3 more mana. Have a think about it and see how it fits in your deck. You can always take it out after 1 game.
I play him.
Okay guys, that's the black cards done for this set. I hope you're enjoying the videos. We're doing all the other colours and artefacts and lands, if we can get through it. But happy gaming, enjoy your pre-release. Send us some pictures of you and your pre-release opening some cards. If there's anything you really enjoyed out of these black ones, let us know. Tell us what your favourite is. If you've made something combo out that's absolutely to die for, please let us know, share it, be part of the community. Alright guys.
Until next time. 3 colours down.